Okay, so my plan is somewhat similar. I didn't give specific days, so I think this is how they can complement each other. So the first thing I do is non-related to case prep. I'd actually reach out to HR and say, "Hey, I need to prepare for this interview. I have never done a case before, and my weeks are a little busy. Would you guys be able to postpone my interviews?"
Oh, he's bending the rules.
Yeah.
Nice.
And a lot of candidates are scared of doing that. But the truth is, like, we've had hundreds of coaching clients. I think I've asked like at least a few dozen of them to do that because they were short on time. And it worked for like 90% of them. Because what people don't understand is that consulting firms want you to do well. They say that. It sounds like HR bullshit, but the truth is they're wasting their time. They're wasting their resources by having an unprepared candidate go to a case interview because they know it's almost impossible to succeed. That's why they train you on how to do these interviews. That's why they point you to resources. That's why they give you coaching sessions oftentimes from a real consultant because they want you to do well. So if you tell them, "Hey, I won't be able to do well because I won't have the time to prepare," they usually don't really care if you interview in 2 weeks or in 6 weeks. So you can ask for an extra month or an extra 2 weeks. And the best part is there's absolutely no downside.
Yeah.
I've heard this from McKinsey partners. I've heard this from HR, and I've seen it from my experience from the candidates that we told to do that. Hey, call them, ask them to postpone. The ones that worked, which is like 90% of them, they got extra time to prepare. And the ones that didn't, because, for example, they were in they had to be interviewed by this one specific partner because they were going to a specialist role. Or and the partner was, I don't know, they were like traveling away.
Yeah.
Something like that. Or they were in a cohort recruiting process. So like if you're an MBA, you have these specific dates to interview and they'll evaluate like all interviewees as a whole. Sometimes this works as well because they have multiple dates, but sometimes it doesn't. And even in these cases, like it doesn't hurt them.
Yeah.
Never hurts them. If you ask politely, if if you're a normal person.
All right. So they ask to postpone their interviews and get more weeks.
Yeah, I'd call this first 30 minutes.
Okay.
Right? Not the whole of day one. Now, they may take some time to answer. So you start preparing as if you had 2 weeks.
Okay.
And the rest, I'll just say as if you have 2 weeks.
Okay.
And honestly, I do this anyway. Even if you get 2 extra weeks, I wouldn't get comfortable. I just do the 2-week prep plan, and then I adapt from there.
Okay.
Okay? So my plan also starts with understanding how the cases flow and how they are. I'd watch 3 videos of cases to understand how they are. You can watch more on day 1, or you can just watch 3 and move straight to the next step, even on day 1.
Okay.
Okay? It could be the ones that you mentioned. I haven't checked them, so I trust you that you picked well.
I did.
The one thing that I would add to that is if you're confused about like this whole case, because a lot of people, they go to university, they go to an MBA, they already know what it's like, a case interview. They just haven't watched one. But some people are from a non-business background. They've never heard of this case interview thing before. If that's you, a lot of people would go read a book. Yeah. Right? I wouldn't do that. What I do instead is I type on YouTube intro to case interviews or like case interview 101. There's some videos that are introductory to case interviews. They explain what it is. They show you some sort of example. And I think that's a good 30-minute substitute for what a 5 or 6 hour book would be.
Yeah, agree.
So I'd watch one of these if you have no idea what you're getting into. Then 3 videos of cases at least.
Mm-hmm.
But I think 3 videos is fine to move to the next step, and you can watch more videos later.
Okay.
Instead of Netflix, for instance. Next step, I'd blast through our free course as you did. So case interview fundamentals, but I'd blast through it in 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't actually do like very methodical with all the examples. I'd blast through it. I would do the drills. I wouldn't just watch the drills.
Yeah.
So there's the theory videos. I'd watch them, take notes, do the practice drills, and I'd spend as much time as needed in the day to go through it in like 2 days, 3 tops.
Mm-hmm.
I know this is possible because we can see on the platform how much time people take to do the course. We usually recommend 7 days because then you can do a module a day and it's more comfortable. But I've seen people doing it in 2 or 3 days. I try to do it as fast as possible because then you get, when you watch the cases, you get like a murky big picture. Like you kind of know what it's supposed to be like.
Yeah.
When you go into the course, you get a great big picture with detail on each type of question, each step of the answer of each type of question. And you won't know how to do it well enough yet, but you will know how to do it actually better than a lot of people because you've done the drills and followed the technique.
Yeah.
So I do that as fast as possible. Okay. Then I would do, you mentioned 2 mock interviews. I would do 5 because then you can find patterns and find your weaknesses. And this is like the plan I wrote down. I really liked yours, so I'm not arguing yet which one is best. I think that's what we'll do next. But just to be clear to everyone. So I do 5 mocks, probably like 2 a day or even like
maybe 3.
3 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
So like about 2 days for that. Again, as fast as possible, because then you apply the flow of the case that you saw in the case interview videos and all the techniques that you learned in the free course.
Yeah.
And you kind of see where you're comfortable and where you're clearly not comfortable, getting stuck, making mistakes, weak. It's difficult. You see these patterns clearly.
Mm-hmm.
And that ends the first phase of my plan. You know how to solve a case. You're not great at it yet, but you know what specific building blocks of the 6 building blocks of our course, of our free course, which ones you're good at and which ones you're not good at.
Yeah.
So you have a diagnostics. Now the second phase, it mixes different things going on in parallel.
Okay.
Okay. So this, I guess, would be day 6 or 7 onwards, or maybe like the second half of your prep. Depends on how fast you do the first things.
Mm-hmm.
In this phase, I would do drills, practice drills for the things, for the building blocks that you're not great at.
Yeah.
3 things you can do with this. You can go back to the free course and redo the drills in those modules, the examples in the theory videos. That's one thing. The other thing is you can find case books from Harvard, Yale, Stanford, all these MBA schools, Wharton. You can go to these case books and find the questions within the cases that represent the building block that you want to practice. You can also join, like if you have trouble with structuring, we have a course with structuring drills.
Yeah.
Same type of drills as the free course, video drills with great examples of answers and best practices and some techniques. And if you want to invest in your prep, you can do that. So if you're poor in structuring, we have structuring drills. If you're poor in estimations, we have master market sizing. And if you need to improve your analysis and charts, we have Analytics Academy.
Yeah.
But I do drills to get really strong at your main weakness or weaknesses.
Yeah.
The other thing that I do along with that is extra mock interviews. Not a lot of them, but you need to see how you improve after the drills. So let's say you have trouble with structuring. You do like 10, 15 drills on structuring, then you do a mock interview, because then you can see if you got better.
Mm-hmm.
And if not, why not?
Yeah.
So that's the other thing that I would do alongside with it. And the third thing is the fit interview prep.
Yeah.
As I said, if it's not at McKinsey, it's really simple. It's why consulting, why this firm, what are your main weaknesses? And there are best practices on how to answer these questions. They are looking for specific things. You can find an article in our website called Consulting Interview Questions, the complete list.
Yeah.
You can look for that on Google. There's like all of the questions and like the best practices for each, and you can use that as a base.
Mm-hmm.
If you're doing McKinsey, you need to prepare for the personal experience interview. I'd say, as I said, 3 stories, invest like 1 hour, 1 hour and a half in each. And it may consume like 1 or 2 or even 3 days. Probably not, it shouldn't consume 3 whole days.
Mm-hmm.
But up to like 2 whole days, you can do that. Maybe 1 if you're fast. And that's it. That's what I do. And I'd also rest on the last day.
Yeah.
Or at most do fit prep.
Okay.